miles an hour now. Now ready, set, go. Whoa-oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome out. We are at the replay. I am Drew Stew, and I'm sitting up here with some champions all the way around. Gentlemen, first of all, Clint, Jake, great roping last night, guys. Way to kick off kind of a crazy start to round one, but round two of the NFR because of the way things kind of fell. And it is my very esteemed privilege to be sitting here next to the champ. How are you, Clay?
Doing good.
Man, it's good to see. Yeah, I got to turn her on, flip her up there.
Now I'm on.
There you are.
Everybody hear me?
They can now. They can.
Cool.
So, guys, y'all were just sitting up here talking about, just watching the roping, watching the runs. It was a great first round. You guys were 4-2 last night, and there was a 4-3 right behind you. You know, like we were up here chatting. Wish everybody the best, but you sure like that 1/10 of a second, don't you guys?
Yes, sir. You don't ever wish anybody bad luck, obviously. We're all buds here. We want everybody to do good. But when it comes to, the NFR, obviously, you got a chance to win the round. You want them just 1/10 slower if possible. But, heck, you want to see everybody do good.
Yep, absolutely. Cleo, talk to me. Take me back to your first trip, your first round at the NFR.
I don't remember it. That was in Oklahoma City.
Uh-huh.
And I was pretty young and wild. That's probably why I probably don't remember it. Because I was running pretty hard back then. So I was enjoying the nightlife along with the roping on the inside.
Gotcha. He was wound up like he is right now, Jake.
I hope he calms down a little bit. I don't know if we can contain
Just chill out.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, Cleo, but with your wisdom behind there, the 7 gold buckles, dude, talk to me a little bit about what it's like coming down to the Thomas and Mack. I mean, that's one thing we talked about here the other day is mastering the nerves and just doing what you do, doing what you know how to do over and over and over again. Talk about that mental game. These are the best ropers in the world. You've been there, done that so many times. Walk me through that a little bit.
It takes a while to learn that. I would say it wasn't until my 5th year coming here to Las Vegas, and I came in the lead, and I think I was ready and seasoned at that point. So 4 years at Oklahoma City and trying to win a world's championship and coming up short, but each year I would learn a little bit, and by the time I got here to the Thomas and Mack, the ball had been rolling strong all year long. We come in with a big lead, and I knew all I had to do is just keep doing what I was doing all year long, which is rope 2 feet every time Jake Barnes spun them off, and it worked.
There it is. That's all you got to do, Jake.
Simple enough. I've been trying that
Why
for 13
didn't somebody tell
now.
us that?
Yeah. All you got to do is catch. No one told me that before.
Hey, Jake, the other day when we were up here talking, one thing that kept coming up is that deal of just doing the same thing over and over and roping your game. And we talked about it a lot so we all have our game, right? This is our game plan, and then the guy goes out and blitzes one right in front of us. Or the dude nearly crossfires one right in front of us, and you're like, I need to push on the gas. I need to romp on the gas a little bit. How hard is – you're one of the fastest healers in our business. How hard is it, or do you even think about, like, I just got to stay in my lane?
I have to remind myself of that. I'm a little bit overly competitive, so when the rounds get really fast and guys are pulling off cool shots, I get to wanting to pull one off too. So I'm trying to have a different mentality this year of just let the run be what it is and kind of trust the process a little bit more. And I think for the last few years I've been caught up in trying to win a gold buckle too much, and I kind of feel like I just want to go back to enjoying it and having fun, roping for money. And if God willing we have that chance at the end, then I'm willing to risk whatever we need to as far as money and standings and all that to try to win it. But none of that really matters. I mean, the money's so huge that that's not really going to be even in the picture till the 9th round. So, I mean, as of now, it's just have fun, rope your steers. I'm really excited how well our run clock last night. I didn't feel like we were that fast. I didn't get him healed near as fast as I wanted to. And so that was a pretty neat feeling for me personally.
I just think it was just cool. I keep going back to our conversation the other day because we talked about that. You guys did exactly what we talked about.
Yeah, no, it did. The other day we talked about it, watching, Tanner and Patrick, watching their run and then watching mine and Jake. We got two different runs, but at the end of the day, they both work. You know, that's their style. We got our own style.
Yep.
And that's the hardest thing. I mean, it is. It truly is. When you see somebody blitz one, you start thinking, man, if it ain't exactly how you do it, you're like, do I need to do this? Do I need to change this? But you got to stick with your game plan.
Yeah. Clay, what do you think? Was there anything profound that you remember, like on the fifth year, you guys come in leading it? Was there a flip that switched or anything that you remember that, like, yeah, it is about me just doing what Clayo does, not worrying about what Ricky's doing or any of the other guys? Like, what was there ever a time that you just had that talk with yourself that if I just need to settle in and do my deal?
Yeah, but, throughout your career, that's part of the learning process. You learn that at jackpots, at 13, 14 years old to stay within your own game plan. I would go to ropings and I wouldn't watch the roping because I didn't want to be influenced by watching that guy out there, whoever it was, or two or three of them, just heeling them down over and over again. I didn't want to see that. So I would just not watch the roping, just go rope my steers. And back to bringing it to the finals, and, when you're coming down the tunnel and the round starts off fast and you get, somebody's 3.9 and then bam, 3.7, then bam, 3.5. Just like Jake said, I mean, on the inside, your competitive nature says, I want to be 3.4. But then you got to play it in your head, and it's like, I can't go there. I got to just rope this steer when he's ready to rope. Now, that could be 3.4, or it could be 4 flat, or it could be 4.5. I got to ride to the right spot, read the run that I'm getting, and take the shot when I see it. Whenever the time is, I can't control that, but I'm gonna rope him when he's ready to be roped and make my shot. Because if you let that adrenaline hit you and you let that, if you back in there to be 3.4, well, you got the ability to be 3.4, but you could also be 0 having that mindset.
Yeah, pretty profound. I mean, Jake, you've been close so many times, and you, like I said, you are arguably one of the fastest healers going down there, and then you put that competition on top of it, and gosh dang, I mean, that mental game side of this deal, you guys are the top 15 probably because of that mental game.
Well, when I was coming down the tunnel, it was him doing that stuff.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
So he was playing in my head the whole time. He crawls out over that sorrel ball face horse and just hammers down 3.7. It'll go to talking to you in your head.
I bet. Well, you guys want to watch some runs last night? Let's go ahead and recap a little bit of the first round. We're going to start it off. We got T-Wade and Wes, and these guys were 6'2". Let's kind of critique this a little bit right here. Oh, yeah. Clint, you think he was maybe looking for that shot right there coming out?
Man, I'm not going to say he was looking for that shot. Obviously, T-Wade, he's one of the greatest.
Absolutely.
And I just think that steer maybe got just a little bit of a step on him because that steer is sharper through the gates. And, man, T-Wade did a great job. I think the old T-Wade, he would have still bombed.
Yep.
But he stayed down, roped the horns good. I mean, they did a businessman run right there. I mean, you couldn't do no better.
That's a great point right there. The old T-Wade would have just let it roll right there, huh? Kicking up there, catching him.
That's the thing when I watched it last night that I thought the old T-Wade would have just, which he could have just spun him off right there. But, he's smarter now. He's thinking a different game plan. He don't want to take himself out on the first steer. So you gotta play your percentages. If it don't look just right, then take another swing, get him caught, and come back another night.
Well, that's one thing me and Clint talked a lot about coming out here, like when you're practicing. You can't practice a bad go on purpose because, you know, you can't create that.
Sure.
But, like, I promise you that ain't the go that T-Wade backed in there thinking he was going to get.
Sure.
And to be able to use your head in that situation and to survive the run, because even if they pull out some miraculous run right there, they're going to win a little check in the round. It's not going to be some major hit to the standings. And so to keep yourself alive in that run right there might be worth $70,000 at the end of the week.
That could be a really big 6-2.
100%, and they
A
might
really
look back
big
and
6-2.
say, "Man, and they did. They made a great run. I mean, he just got a bad go on the head side, but they both kept their cool and they made a good, clean run. And you keep your confidence that way going into night too, instead of just throwing it up in the air. And you know, if it doesn't work, now you're down a steer. Now you start thinking, man, do we need to press, or you know, what do we need to do? So, I thought it was a great job. I mean, like I said, it's. We did that several times in the practice pen. All right, we're going to make whatever run and then steer beach out of the chute just a step or two. And, you know, it looks like he got a really bad go, but really, all like Clint said, it's just one little step. But that step's huge here because the arena's so small. And if it's a normal setup and normal time of year, he's still basically on the barrier right there, and you can still win something. But
that decision-making process happens right then to go this way or that way.
That's what I was going to say. You can see when the steer comes out of the chute right here, T-Wade is in his lane. He's a little wider, and that steer steps to the right. You can see right here.
There.
Okay. You know, it's very hard to make that reaction.
To
tell yourself not to throw.
Because he's like right there.
Yes, sir. So, in my eyes, man, that's a hard move to tell yourself, hey, stay up, keep going, you know, don't send it.
That's way harder than
Absolutely.
sending it.
Yes,
But you preload that.
well, I was going to say,
You learn to preload it.
yeah, he's preloaded, and that's a shot he can pull off. It ain't like, I mean, if he'd have threw right there, none of us would have been like, what's he doing?
No,
he'd
it
have
was
probably
more
caught
of
him.
a surprise not seeing him throw.
100%.
Way more.
And so, like, that's the hardest part, and on either end, is when you see shots that you know you can pull off, but it's not the right time.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's maturity right there. And like Champ was talking, like, you know, T-Wade's been in these situations, and he's learned, you know, which, like I said, he's pulled that shot off way more than he's messed it up. But, you know, that was really, really good decision-making, I thought.
And then mentally, guys, don't they ride out of there last night still pretty dang happy?
I think so.
You know,
I mean,
we're 6-2 guys. We're good. Like,
yeah. Well, like I said,
first one's done.
you didn't get the go you wanted, and your reactions are great. That to me tells me that you're not getting overwhelmed by the moment, by the emotions, and to know that you're thinking that clearly, man, they're going to have a great week. I mean,
That's
it's
awesome.
just,
Confidence building run right there for the rest of the
100%.
week. Great. All right, let's move on. We're going to go down to Tanner and Patrick's run. We'll wheel through this one. These guys were 5-2.
And I think that's kind of the same deal right there. I don't think Tanner got the start he really wanted. That steer is very sharp as well. Has been since the break-in. And but T, he did a great job. Set him up and let Pat do what he does.
Yeah, I think same thing, just like Clint said. It's almost the exact same thing, just, you know, maybe a half a step instead of a full step. And then, you know, the steer just didn't clean up just perfect right there in the corner. Patty, veteran, one more swing. I honestly don't know. Did that win? Surely that won something, didn't it, last night?
Looked like he self-corrected in his handle here, too. It's like it come tight, but he pushed forward an extra stride. But in doing that, you know, Patrick reads this, and then he just sees his shot right there because it softened the steer up enough to keep him jumping. So what I noticed in, you know, first night jitters, and we talked to Caleb here just a little bit ago, and his horse got quick on him. There were some hits last night, and it's hard for a header to push up because you think it's going to take forever for the steer to be ropeable. But actually, if you can push up, it'll sometimes trigger your heeler to rope him faster because he sees his shot so much quicker. When a heeler sees a steer hit hard, he's naturally going to pull back and wait to see him take a good jump. But right here, I thought he almost did it too much, but he did it just enough to soften that steer. And then Patrick just went off on him right here and made a really nice shot.
Yeah, it's almost like when he pushed up right there, it almost put it in slow motion for Patrick.
It did.
And smooth, like we said the other day. In this building, smooth is fast.
Yep.
I truly believe that.
Yep. That was a great run right there. Patrick's position looks so nice right there. Everything's smooth. Take that all day long. All right, let's
These
go.
steers are pretty small. Kind of.
Well, they do. They feel smaller than the last few years. They really
they?
do. Like,
Yeah. It's
what
gonna
was
take
weird
a
to
little
me.
better handling.
Yeah, but they
them bigger
seem-
steers can take more
when we were
hits.
breaking them in, they seem fuller than normal, but usually they're a little more drawed up when we break them in, and then you show up here and they look like they ate another steer by the time they get here. But these steers were pretty full when we broke them in, and then they haven't gotten any bigger really. So
I feel like, though, like if you go back there to look at your draw each night, when you go back there, these steers just ain't as tall as they have been in the past. When you go back there, they're still fat. They're short, but they're full. But obviously they're not going to weigh like they did in the past.
Sure.
And it's going to set up to handle them better for these guys, I think.
What were those Oklahoma City steers like, Cleo?
Our steers back then were so big. I mean, a small steer, the light end of them would be 550, and you would have some in there 650. I mean, they're big old racks and just big old muss hogs. But that's what we wrote back then.
Yeah.
Now everything's so much faster because cattle are smaller horns, better ropers, but the cattle were way different.
You say 550, that's the low end. I think that's the most they can weigh now.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
like
550.
Yeah, the top end of it all right there. Yeah. That's what Jake practices bulldogging on all the time at the house, though. All right, let's go down to Caleb and Junior. Let's watch.
Man, that was another one of them steers. That steer last night was actually supposed to be an extra, and one of the steers in the back pen got crippled, and that was our first extra. And he starts real sharp. Even in the break-in the other day, me and Jake actually ran him twice when we was breaking him in. That steer he don't want to give you his head real good. He's kind of stiff-necked. You'd head him, and he'd kind of take his head from you. And then when you tried to break him over, he would hit weird and then open up real funny. And Caleb, he was worried about that. And I know he said that his horse was a little tighter or whatever, but in his game plan, I think he was going to try to head him and bring him back and hopefully open him up a little bit for Junior to see if he could get a little bit of that funkiness out of the right here through the corner, which, I mean, I think the wilder they are, the better Junior likes them myself.
Yeah.
It don't matter to that guy.
Well, he gets it on him good right there, though, Clint, doesn't he?
Man, he
ropes
does.
the
He
horns
drilled
good.
the start. I wasn't down there. I was watching it on the TV screen, and it didn't look like he could have got much closer to the barrier. I mean, it looked like he rocked it pretty good, and he whooped it on the horns like he always does.
Well,
What
I
are you
think-
seeing here, Jake?
Well, I think a lot of the steers, for some reason, like I said, when we broke them in, they didn't seem that bad, really. But we had a jackpot on them, and, man, they were really tough to heel. They didn't handle very clean. And I thought the first round was kind of the same way. So, to me, Junior did an excellent job right here because, again, this is a shot he can pull off if he wants to try this steer on. But it's a 10-head deal. They don't, they're in a great position. They don't need to try to win the first round. And, that's going to set their week up really good. I mean, this steer really wasn't healable until he threw. I mean, it wasn't like he took extra swings trying to be safe, nothing like that. Like, he rode a great corner. Steer was just really, really trashy, and I don't really know what else he could have done or Driggers. I mean, they both did a really, really good job, and that steer's just tough. Hopefully he'll get better to rope as the week goes on. But, I mean, he's going to be a tough steer to win money on if he keeps doing that.
That's almost the same thing on the heel side that we were just talking about on the heading side right there that Junior's doing. He could have started that delivery like he'll do coming in through the corner right there, and then you're committed, and that steer's just not ready to rope.
Right.
And you're 50-50 instead of sitting up there taking an extra crank right there, another hop.
Yeah, and they still want a good check.
They still want a great
yeah,
check.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the deal. Like, Driggers did such a good job of getting it on that steer and setting, and getting him out of the way, that even though Junior was forced to take another swing or two right there, they're still fast enough. They still want a good check.
Yeah, 4-6, letting him clean up.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest deal. Like, he's forced to take extra swings. It's not, and again, it's not that he's choosing to track the steer.
Yep.
It's just that steer's basically unhealable until where
Yep.
he threw.
Yep. All right, let's go down to Jake Cooper Clay, Tyler Worley. How about this kid in the last few years, huh, guys?
Yeah, Jake's come a long ways, and he's really doing a good job. You know, he was a really good healer for several
Long
years. I
time.
saw him grow up, and you know, he had a great style healing, and then he decided to switch to heading, and it's just been a natural fit for him. But man, they made a great run. I think they were second or third out in the round or something, weren't they?
Yeah, they were second. They were 4-3.
And I know 4-3 won the first round last year, so we're sitting back there in the tunnel, and you know, they've just made an excellent run, but an easy run. I mean, that looks like they could do that 1,000 times in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. Jake Clay, he heads and heels great.
Yeah, he does.
But first run at Vegas, Thomas and Mack Center, and you go 4-3. I mean, you can't ask for much better.
How about that?
He hit
how
the bear
happy
good,
was he when he
roped the
rides
horns.
out?
It didn't even, it don't look hard for him at all. And right here, first hop, Worley drills him. I mean, that was just a smooth, perfect run, honestly.
Yeah.
I was going to say, on the heel side, I mean, Worley did absolutely as good as you can get. I mean, if you get in that position right there, that makes healing in this building really, really easy. And Worley's one of the best guys about staying around the turn and really getting to the end of it. And if he can keep getting to that spot, and I think Jake, you know, it seems like guys that hadn't been here heading before, it kind of goes one way or the other. And so to see him get tapped off on the first one, it wouldn't shock me if he turned 10 like that. And, you know, Worley's going to ride to that same spot. I think they're going to make a lot of good runs this week.
Pretty good shot, huh, Clay, right there?
You know, I think this, I mean, they didn't win first, but I think this was the smoothest run, really, because the steer kind of stepped off to the right, which could make things not be as smooth, but he stepped forward enough that the steer really cornered perfect, and then with a good entry, being in a good spot, just opens up a fast shot right there, but just smooth and fast, and looks repeatable. They could do this all 10 times.
I got to tell you guys a funny story. So I just went for like a yearly checkup with a doctor there in Oklahoma, and the nurse comes in, and I don't know, had my belt buckle on or something, you know. And she's like, "Oh, do you team rope?" And I said, "Yeah, I sure do." And she's like, "Yeah, my cousin, he's into that rope and deal or whatever." And this is the week after the BFI when Jake won it, and she's like, "Yeah, he won this jackpot in Guthrie." And I'm like, "You mean the BFI?" And she's like, "Yeah, do you know it?" it was just funny. She had no idea what he'd done and how good he roped. It was pretty funny. But, all right, we'll watch this one more time, then we'll go down to your guys' run, the 4-2 top run of the night, round number 1 of the Thomas and Mack.
Man, right here, I was just trying to get the best starts possible, and I don't feel like I drilled it by no means. I feel like I could have got a little bit better start. Our steer was great, and I think a big deal here is sticking it on them and getting their head and keeping a hold of them and bringing them back, but open them up as well for these guys. And I don't know, it felt great. I'm like Jake, I didn't feel like we were 4-2, but it worked out, and
yeah, you would have been 3-9 if you'd stayed up there around the guts. Huh?
Well, I tried to throw it up there on purpose, you know, and then I just didn't quite get it high enough, you know.
What kind of rope was you using?
yeah, that old Cactus Mojo. Just tried to jump up there and help us a little bit. So, no, it's, you know, as far as just critiquing myself, I let myself get just a shade narrow right there, and it trapped me from getting all the way around him, where Worley got to a really good spot right there and made his shot easy. It kind of made me take one more swing, and lucky for us, it did jump up on the hips, and that's what allowed us to keep that time. Not to
What's
mention,
the inside of a steer look like?
I'm not used to getting there. I don't like getting there. If you can see both
That's
feet,
where I
like,
rope from.
I get confused if you can see both feet. It's weird. I don't like it.
For everybody that's watching and listening here, Jake, when you say you get shallow right there, you're talking about leaking in right there a little early?
Yeah, like when I left the box, like I'm in a good spot when I leave the box, but you can see how I really narrow up and get closer to the steer a little bit too early. And every horse is different. Like this horse right here does better if I do stay just a shade wider. My other horse, that would have been perfect, and I would have stayed, you know, like I need to be closer to the steer because he wants to kind of quit moving his feet a little bit more. But, you know, Clint did a really good job of keeping the steer moving, keep pulling him. So it makes my mistake not as big a deal when he does a really good job. So,
but man, like for you right there, right, you had to put your rope down right there. That steer's getting, You're not just coming out and just easy roping the feet right there. You got to put your rope down. I mean, look how wide he is, and he's spread out right there.
Yeah, which he kind of. It's a little bit of an optical illusion because I already had him roped.
You already had him roped.
When he got
yeah.
really wide,
Yeah.
so I mean, it makes it look, like I pulled off a little cooler shot than it really was. But
Yeah, it wasn't that. You're right.
but whatever. Picture's gonna look cool. So, but no, it's in years past, kind of like Champ said, years past, I maybe would have tried that shot when the steer hits out there because it's a shot I've taken a million times in my career.
Well, if you'd have been outside, you might have took it.
100%. Yeah,
So being inside just won you a first place chip
that's right. Yeah,
because you had to look at him right there.
bad position won me more money. So there you go.
Well, now I figured something out.
Yeah.
I'm riding to the wrong spot.
Get in there. Get in there.
Worked
Make
for
sure,
him for a really, really long time.
I just get in there, make sure Clint's rope's strong enough to keep pulling the steer and me, and it worked out.
I don't think Jake's going to say, but that steer, you can see, especially on this angle, when he leaves the box. Like with Worley and Jake Clay, their steer was more in the center of the arena, maybe one step to the right. Our steer, when he starts and then steps one step. When I headed him, I almost felt like I was straight behind. Well, when I went to turn him, I was like, I got to get away. I picked that steer's head up a little bit and brung him back over himself. Well, that made his hips hit away from Jake. He was trying to get down the arena, but from me having to do what I had to do, it put him to the inside a little bit. I think if he stays one step to the right, Jake is around him, how he likes to be, obviously. Yep. But with that steer taking that one step over to the left, I kind of come back, and it forced that steer's hips to go away from him, which put him over there to the inside.
That's what's tricky about the Thomas and Mack. Just one step, one way or the other, makes a big difference in how the run sets up. Because if they step left at all, and you got to come back, and you're trying to make something happen, it's going to put things. And then it's going to be easy to get to the inside because now your horse has to really make up some ground to get to the outside going left.
Yeah, well, and that probably was a little bit of the feeling of me getting narrow. And when we were watching the videos on this steer, when we just chased them, we got 3/4 of the arena as a wall of horses. But the steer was kind of looking left. And then even when they roped him the second time, it's still almost half the arena people are standing there. And that steer, that was the one thing I was worried about, was he was excellent to rope. I mean, he looked like probably one of the better ones to actually just rope the cow. But the thing that concerned me as far as time on him was he did want to step left. And so.
Would you guys take 4-1 10 times in a row?
And run home. Yes, I would.
I'll sit over here with Drew Stu and do interviews
Every day.
You can just send me whatever
this,
it wins.
This looks like a real repeatable run as well. Looks like your signature run, and looks like you could do that every time.
I am excited. I do feel like we really developed a run in practicing for here, and Clint did a great job of getting us some steers. I mean, he's got 45 head at his house, and I told him that, like, usually when I come out here, it's like, man, they're big and they're running, and we've got some steers at the house that are not a day off at all. And so, like, that was, I hope when we look back on this week, that ends up being a huge advantage, that we roped good. And obviously, it was a great start, but if we can keep it going.
Yeah, I got to thank Jeff Hilton on that. Yeah. Man, for several years, we've hit it off. We've become pretty good friends, and that guy's always got great roping steers. Yeah. And when I made the finals, he had told me, said, last times I made it, he got me some. And he said, hey, if you make it, I'm not really doing a steer deal right now. I'll have you some steers. Yep. Man, he's got me 45 head. They're as real as it can possibly get.
That's awesome.
And we've put a lot of time into it every day. We didn't go to Arizona and jackpot. We wanted to try to get as ready as possible for here. And I think that had a big part to do with it, just trying to get a smooth run down pat on that set of steers, which is similar to here. Yep. And hopefully it'll pay off.
Absolutely. Well, guys, speaking about big payoffs right now, you can hear the announcers are kicking off here. It is short round time for the 50,000 added Riata buckle deal. They're going to be giving some money away here today. I tell you what, guys, going back to you, what a great way to start off the national finals for both of you. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with us. Congratulations on a big win. And I got one more question. Like these steers that they're bringing through, how many times will you guys rope these?
That set gets roped 4 times.
4 times?
Yep, 3, 3, and 4.
3, 3, and 4. So
right. 3, 6.
The first round steers go 4 times, and the other two, the second, third round steers go 3 times.
Gotcha. Yep. Gotcha. So you guys will get a good look at them a few times then, huh?
Yep. That was a strong set. Tonight's a little bit better. Third set's our softer set.
Oh, gotcha.
So probably going to get a little faster each night as it goes, I would think, normally, but who knows? Never know.
Yeah. Well, guys, good luck. Keep
Thank you.
roping tough.
Go get them.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you guys for hanging out. Everybody, make sure you tune in to the replay. We're going to be back here every single day. Also, make sure you go over to WST Roping, the World Series Facebook page, and also the website as well, where you can watch the live stream for all your KeyCard Max members. It is free. If you want to go watch it, you can sign up and do it. We're going to be bringing you all of this action from roping.com and the replay right here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. I'm Drew Stew. On behalf of these guys, we're going to go watch some team roping.